course, we're going to start with Team USA. They had their bronze medal game against Canada in Manila, and this is how it went down. My goodness, gilgeous-alexander has been excellent for Canada. We talked about them, Ros, being a team that is stacked with NBA players along with the U.S. team. So we're going to pick this up, 2-point game. Canada down by 2 with 2 minutes to go. Dillon Brooks, I did not have this on my bingo card, Ros.
We knew he had the defense, but offensively, he broke out.
Tied 107, gilgeous-alexander. He gets that one to drop for Canada to take a 2-point lead here in regulation. Now this
never works.
Insane.
And then
this
it did.
Free throw goes out to the corner for 3.
What? Pandemonium.
Gets it to go. Even Tyrese Halliburton can't quite believe it.
That never works.
What a fun game.
Carmelo.
I mean, Ros, has that ever worked?
It's
the intentional miss?
It's literally like park basketball.
Let's take a listen to how it actually sounded when this shot went down.
Oh, a good miss. The USA got it. Bridget from the corner. You have got to be kidding me. Unbelievable. A play for the ages at the FIBA Basketball World Cup.
The USA got it. It is unbelievable.
That's how you start your Monday.
But did the USA get it in overtime? It is a 2-point game, 3:42 to go. Gilgeous-alexander. Let me put you on some skates, some ice here.
Not only did he drop them, but he put it in, made it, and smiled. Shea was incredible all tournament.
If you don't know, now you know.
And if you don't know, now you know. Dillon Brooks, he is a bag offensively as well. Canada wins the bronze medal. Let's take a listen to Brooks after the game.
Obviously, you know, the hate doesn't stop. It keeps going. But, you know, just having, you know, my country behind me, you know, a head coach, you know, behind me, general manager, you know, all these guys behind me trying to, you know, have me succeed. You know, nothing with the politics, nothing with, you know, anything to do with, you know, I feel like with contracts or any of those things, you know, I can succeed. You know, it's hard to battle against the world and a team. It's just like, you know, like Kobe Bryant, you know, R.I.P. to Kobe Bryant, how he had to figure out how to, you know, create a black mamba, you know, a different persona when he comes on the court. So, you know, I guess that's my persona, you know, the villain.
We're going to get back to Dillon the villain and the success he had in just a minute. But Team USA failed to win a gold medal for the 2nd consecutive FIBA World Cup. They've only won twice in their last 5 appearances in the tournament, dating back to 2006. So for more on the loss, let's go back out to Manila and Brian Windhorst.
Hey, Malika, what a game we had here this afternoon in Manila. Team USA and Canada playing what I think will be the first of many classic games against each other. Who knows? We may see a rematch next year in Paris. Canada gets this one, an extremely emotional Canadian team. They hadn't won a medal of any kind in 87 years, dating to the 1936 Olympics when they won silver. So they're very emotional in getting this bronze medal. Dillon Brooks obviously having a difficult summer with his departure from the Memphis Grizzlies. This was an incredible redemption story for him. They were booing him because of how much he offended Lakers fans, and they're all Lakers fans here in Manila. By the end of this game, a 39-point performance, they were chanting MVP, and he just smiled and took it all in. That is the Dillon Brooks experience. For Team USA, they just didn't have the defense. Now, I have to point out, there are 3 guys down in this game because there's an illness going through the team. But I don't think that passes for the reason they weren't able to get stops over these last few games. They just didn't have a defensive mindset. They didn't have a roster that was equipped to win on this level, even in an NBA-style game against a bunch of guys that they knew. This was a game that should have favored them, but it just didn't. And so they're really going to have to examine what needs to be done going into next year in Paris. Number one, they're going to have to recruit top-level players, and that is going to be helped, I think, by the game being in Europe. But 3 of the last 4 major competitions have been here in Asia. The World Cup, moving to the back-to-back years with the Olympics makes it hard. But Steve Kerr and Grant Hill put together a team that they thought could win here. Very clearly, it could not. So they've got to restart. And they're going to have a long trip home. Pretty disappointed about the way this finished. Okay, that's it from Manila. Back to you guys in Los Angeles.
Brian, thank you. Safe travels home. As promised, Mr. Mark Spears, Hall of Famer, is with us along with Ramona and Ros. So let's get right to it because we talked about this on Friday, Ramona, as not being a gimme for Team USA, that they weren't guaranteed to go home with any hardware. How much of a disappointment do you think this is for Team USA?
I mean, I think it's a big disappointment, but I think at the end of it, this team did not turn out the way that they fielded it. I think when they fielded this team, everyone thought Jalen Brunson was going to be the star and the biggest leading scorer. That turned out to be Anthony Edwards. Brandon Ingram was going to play a bigger role. That turned out to be McCall Bridges. They thought Jaren Jackson Jr. would be the defensive anchor. That did not happen. He was in foul trouble. Obviously, he was sick for this last game. And so the way they fielded this team didn't materialize on the court, but I thought they played really well. And at the end of this game, in an NBA game, it often comes down to star power. And Team Canada has a superstar whose name is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And if you don't know, now you know. The Oklahoma City has a star. And I think that's what we saw in this tournament.
Yeah.
Okay, I have an unpopular opinion.
Please, we love this.
I think overall, we just need to have an overhaul and reframe the conversation. And the bronze medal needs to mean something. You look at Team Canada, they came into this game, historic run. It was going to be a win-win, just getting there.
Yeah.
Then winning was even better. Team USA, you got a bunch of young guys who are shouldering expectations that they didn't earn. They're internalizing a conversation around the bronze medal being talked about like it's a rec center championship. I mean, this is international basketball, and I want to let y'all know the bronze medal means something because if you come home empty-handed, the feeling is devastation. And so you spend these weeks out there, months, all over the world, Spain and Abu Dhabi and in the Philippines, and you come up empty-handed, you're emotionally, physically, mentally drained and exhausted.
Right, and we can kind of pick apart at that now, but when you look at what Team USA, their travel schedule wasn't necessarily as difficult as other teams. Their pool wasn't necessarily as difficult as other teams. So all of these conversations are sort of already stacked in terms of, well, it's theirs to lose, and all of a sudden they're heading home with no hardware.
This team gave up 113 points to Germany. That's just absolutely embarrassing. This is probably the worst defensive team in USA history. And had they had some better bigs, and, you know, us Americans, man, us the NBA that loves to go small, the Giant beat this team. Like, there's guys that should have been on this roster. I don't know if they were asked, like Bam Adebayo, obviously Jaren Jackson and Kessler there. Well, what about Jared Allen, Brooke Lopez? Obviously, Anthony Davis is probably like, I'm going to wait for Paris, and that's part of the problem, too. Miles Turner, Evan Mobley. If this team had size and rebounding, they would be gold medalists. So I think the team was put together poorly. And these guys are like, you know, guinea pigs. It's not fair. Like, I saw that LeBron James put out, hey, you know, we're going to bring the A team. And that's the problem. The USA does not respect, or NBA Americans do not respect the World Cup, and it's their fault that they're in this position. But it's also, you know, I think Grant, respectively, has to come together with some more bigs and not just guys that can put the ball in the basket.
Well, Grant Hill has said that just because you didn't play for this FIBA World Cup team obviously doesn't disqualify you in his mind for the 2024 Paris Olympics. It does feel a little bit like there are some big stars missing from other teams. We talked about this last week as well. It's not like Giannis was out there for Greece. It's not like Nikola Jokic was out there. It's not even like Jamal Murray was out there for Canada.
Right.
The world is coming. The question is, you know, these other teams, they have this group of 9 players that are together year-round, and then they sprinkle in their other stars. And so it's not like the U.S. is sort of playing within that system. It's going to be interesting to see with the A team out there what happens in Paris. But I do want to stick here just for one more second because it feels like one of the biggest reasons for the U.S. loss. I don't want to take anything away from the size and the rebounding, all that. What about Dillon Brooks, guys? Or Brian Windhorst? He caught up with him after the game.
Okay, I am here with Dillon Brooks, who is a Canadian hero right now. You didn't just poke the bear, you slayed the bear today. 39 points in a medal game. Canada's first medal in 87 years against the Americans. Brilliant shooting game. I don't know if you've ever played better on a bigger stage than this. What are you feeling right now?
I feel amazing. I knew I had to come out and, you know, give energy to our team. Just the shot felt good, and you know, the Shai was finding me in all types of places, you know, and I was just letting it fly. And, you know, I had a lot of teammates behind my back, and, you know, we figured out, even when, you know, America making big shots, we got great players over there, and they found a way to make big shots. We found a way to, you know, gut out a win.
So in this tournament, you were getting booed heavily when you came here to Manila because you are a rival of the Lakers. By the end of it today, they were cheering MVP, MVP. What did that mean to you to turn this crowd around and illustrate how you've played this last few weeks?
It feels good. You know, I know that they don't really hate me like that. They just, you know, they like to do it for the social media, and the same thing with Indonesia as well. But, you know, I worked, you know, very hard, you know, after that series. that scrutiny. I mean, you know, it only builds you stronger.
Well, what a great summer for you. $86 million from the Houston Rockets, bronze medal, terrific performance. Thank you, Dillon. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.